Welcome to this event. It is the first Europe-Uzbekistan business roundtable, at least on my memory. We have not limited this event to any one country, so about 350 people have registered to attend this event online. And we have welcome remarks from Europe and from Uzbekistan, and we will hear also investors who are actually working in Uzbekistan for many years. Welcome. I already see we have 120 people watching only on one platform, and we are streaming on pretty much every platform we know. So, Dr. Klaus Mangold, without further ado, please, your welcoming remarks. Please spotlight Dr. Mangold in the
Dear EUBIC, first of all, I would like to thank you for organizing this meeting today. I believe after holiday season and all pandemic issues, it's great to have such a round of discussions. And thank you very much for making this effort. And I'm as well happy to see afterwards Mr. Umurzakov, and I hope that we will listen to a statement which reflects the success as well over the summertime in Uzbekistan. So let me welcome all of you to this Europe-Uzbekistan Business Roundtable 2021. And I'm pleased to see that there's a great number of participants joining this meeting, despite it being rearranged into an online format due to the current situation. I would like to make a few words. First of all, I believe that Uzbekistan today stands for a very dynamic strategy as far as economy is concerned, as far as politics are concerned. And I see as well a good spirit of innovation in the country. And everybody is very much looking forward to say it very clearly, says this will continue after the elections as well in the country taking place in the second part of October. And I believe this will be a great opportunity as well to see and analyze see what have been achieved under the leadership of the president after the, let me say, black box times of the Karimov era. Now is to follow the dynamic development of the country. And this as well has the signature always of you, S.Umurzakov, and your ministry. You stand seen from the outside investors and from the investors abroad as for something which is characterized with a lot of innovation. And I believe this is great what you are doing, and it's very much acknowledged by everybody in the business community outside of your country. And let me add one point as well. We Germans are very grateful, and including as well some other countries, what you have just done recently in the difficult situation to bring our people back from Afghanistan to Europe. And I believe this is great, and this is something which is as well underlying the good relationship between Uzbekistan and Europe. And thank you so much for what you have done in this regard. This was great, and I believe it will as well lead to a new spirit to reconsider and to consider the dynamics of your country. And I believe as well that when looking to the investments between Germany and Uzbekistan, I believe that we can be very proud about the recent achieved numbers. We stand now of investments of 700 million euros in the last 2 years. This is a great result. And I believe as well that we have to develop everything which contributes in having a stable relationship between the EU and Uzbekistan. And we need as well a good strategic relationship between the EU Commission and your country, because you are, for us, the most important country in Central Asia. And I believe, therefore, the framework of how this will develop as well from the European Commission will be something we have to have in mind. And I had the discussion I had the opportunity to discuss with the President of the EU Commission, Mrs. von der Leyen, last Friday in Switzerland about next steps, and I believe really that we will see that the European Commission will undertake some more important steps in how to develop this relationship in a political, economic, scientific framework. And let me as well add one point. We are very happy as well to see in which way your country is now as well focusing to the education of young people in your country. The recently started university by order of the president, I believe, will develop the talents in your country even more. And I believe this is as well something reflecting what you are doing in the future orientation of Uzbekistan. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to talk to you. And I welcome again all the participants for a good discussion. And I wish all the best for the future of your country, and mainly if it comes to the elections by end of October. You have all our best wishes for being successful as well in the future. So take care, stay healthy, and all the best. And hopefully we will see each other soon again when I will be in Uzbekistan by the end of the month. Thank you again, and I would like now to hand over to Mr. Umurzakov, the Deputy Prime Minister of the country and Minister of Investments and Foreign Trade. Shado, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Good morning, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, dear Klaus, dear Mr. Devin. First of all, I'd like to express my sincere gratitude for all the organizers and participants of today's event. Current challenges which are taking place in the world require us to be more creative, cooperate more actively with each other, and of course, try to combine our efforts to find new points of sustainable development. That's why I believe all of us, we decided to hold this event in order to have a chance and platform to share opinions, ideas, and proposals on future joint actions to expand our trade and investment cooperation. Dear participants of our event, for the last several years, the relations between Uzbekistan and the European Union have reached an unprecedented level. The main reason beyond this achievement belongs, of course, to the business communities of Uzbekistan and EU, who act as a main driver while enhancing our partnership. However, we believe that there is still a huge unexploited potential which could allow us to expand and deepen our trade and investment cooperation between Uzbekistan and the European Union. As many of you know, we in Uzbekistan pay special attention to the issue of creation of the most favorable conditions for investors. I'd like to very briefly enumerate the main measures which were undertaken in Uzbekistan and aimed at improvement of the business environment in our country. Well, firstly, you all are well aware about the path of democratization of our society and our country, which we've taken 5 years ago when we started to implement the reform agenda. And of course, here government of Uzbekistan, headed by President of Uzbekistan, are committed to continue all the reforms started when it comes to creation of a multi-party democracy, civil society with strong civil society institutes, and of course, non-governmental sector. Secondly, over the last 5 years, Uzbekistan has been taking very concrete steps towards introduction of the market-based principles in all sectors of our national economy. Many barriers hindering the development of business have been eliminated. And today we are putting a lot of efforts to make sure that rule of law is enforced, that corruption is being fought, and competition is encouraged. Third, we have recently launched a large-scale privatization program under which state shares or government shares in major companies and commercial banks of Uzbekistan were put up for sale. We have a clear objective, which is to reduce number of enterprises and companies with the state participation by 3 times within the next 2 to 3 years. Fourth, very important issue is the policy of openness, which we started to implement 5 years ago, allowed us to introduce visa-free regime for nationals of more than 90 countries, including, of course, the countries of the European Union, member states. Fifth, we've established a Foreign Investors Council under the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan. And now we are planning to hold its first plenary session shortly, very soon, within probably 2 months' time. Also, it's remarkable to note that for the first time in our recent history, in August this year, President of Uzbekistan conducted a direct dialogue, direct meeting with the business representatives of our country. This meeting was intended to identify issues and problems, find solutions for them, as well as to develop practical proposals and initiatives to improve business environment and investment climate in Uzbekistan. As a result, a number of decisions were made already by the government, including those about financing and simplification of business procedures, improvement of the tax legislation, and of course, development of infrastructure. It is really encouraging for us to see that the reforms in Uzbekistan are yielding concrete results. I'd like just to note that Uzbekistan's economic growth rate has already surpassed its pre-COVID figures. According to JP Morgan, and they've given the most optimistic scenario, which I want to quote, our country's economy is expected to grow over 8% this year. And the pessimistic forecasts show at least 6%. In April this year, as you all probably know, Uzbekistan received the status of a beneficiary country of the GSP Plus system of European Union. And in order to save time, I don't want to continue telling you about the details of and results of the transformations which are taking place in Uzbekistan. I just want to reassure you that first, reforms in Uzbekistan became irreversible. And second, our government will continue the steady course of reforms to further improve our economy, democratize society, and build free market relations. Dear colleagues, although during the pandemic, the global trade, including the Uzbekistan-EU trade turnover, experienced certain declines, the post-pandemic period is demonstrating optimistic results. Statistics show that during the 7 months of this year, our mutual turnover was characterized by the growth. And of course, we need to put additional efforts to follow current positive dynamics when it comes to increase of our mutual trade. I'm sure that Uzbekistan's accession to the World Trade Organization, on which we are now working hard, as well as signing of the enhanced partnership and cooperation agreement with the European Union, which we also have great hopes for, would serve to achieve these strategic goals. Dear friends, we have enough, more than enough, good examples of successful cooperation with European companies. Today, we have managed to establish cooperation with many companies from EU member countries, including Germany, Italy, France, Hungary, Poland, and many, many others, in a number of very important sectors of our economy, namely energy, mining, agriculture, textile manufacturing, building materials production, and others. In total, our statistics show that almost 1,000 companies or enterprises with the investments of the European Union member countries operate in Uzbekistan now. And of course, our potential is even bigger and wider. We would like to invite European companies to collaborate in different sectors of the economy and enjoy a first mover advantage. Let me try to highlight very briefly some of very important possibilities and opportunities. First, the energy industry or sector is one of the most dynamically developing ones in Uzbekistan. Over the next 5 years, we plan to commission an additional 11,000 megawatts of new capacity. By the year 2030, the share of renewable sources in the power generation mix will exceed 30%. We invite EU companies to participate in the modernization of the energy sector of Uzbekistan. Second, oil and gas, as well as petrochemical sectors, are among the most promising ones. They account for about 15% of the country's total GDP now. The country is among top 15 countries in the world in terms of natural gas production volumes. And we invite partners in joint projects to intensify gas production, exploration, production of chemical products with high added value. Third, the mining industry is among the fastest growing sectors of national economy in Uzbekistan. Our country is one of the world's largest producers of gold and copper. More than 100 tons of gold is mined annually in our country, and more than 150,000 tons of copper. We invite European companies to invest in joint projects for processing copper and other non-ferrous metals and take advantage of the unique benefits of Uzbekistan's mining industry. Fourth, many of you are aware of Uzbekistan's considerable agricultural potential. In the next few years, we intend to develop more than 1 million hectares of agricultural land, increase average productivity by 2 times, and create additional capacities for the processing of agricultural products by almost 4 additional million tons. Fifth, textile and leather industries are also important sectors of our economy. And today, there are more than 7,000 textile enterprises in the country. Annual growth in the textile and leather industries is above 20%. Considering the full potential of these fields of production, we propose to expand the volumes of our trade operations, including, of course, finished products, garments, and as well as raw materials. Sixth, the pharma industry, pharmaceutical manufacturing industry, is not less promising. At the moment, Uzbekistan is taking very important and active measures to localize the production of medicines. In the next 5 years, we intend to increase the share of domestically produced medicines in the local market from current 45% to at least 70%. And to this end, 8 pharmaceutical-free economic zones have been created in our country, the residents of which are exempt from paying taxes and custom duties. We invite European pharmaceutical companies to implement joint projects in those zones. Seventh, the production of construction materials is also another priority sector of our economy, which shows a steady annual growth of about 15% per annum. It is critical to point out, dear colleagues, that Uzbekistan's diversified economic structure, as well as easy access to the market of Commonwealth of Independent States, with almost 300 million population, which are united by a free trade zone, opens up great business opportunities for all the investors in virtually any sector of our economy. Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, today the world has entered into the era of global transformation, bringing both challenges and new opportunities. I urge the representatives of the business communities of both Uzbekistan and the European Union to engage in constructive dialogue to jointly identify and explore new points and drivers for growth. In turn, I would like to reassure you one more time that Uzbekistan will continue to be a reliable, predictable, and stable partner for all foreign investors and partners. And these are not just words. This is the political will and constant position of the President of Uzbekistan and, of course, the whole Uzbek government. I'd like to thank you for your attention, and I wish you all the best and success in your cooperation and partnership. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Your participation in these events is critical, and your continued support to the European business is very important. Now I would like to welcome to the floor His Excellency Luc Devine. He is Director for Russia, Eastern Partnership, Central Asia and OSCE, Deputy Managing Director for Europe and Central Asia at the European External Action Service. He is here in person in Brussels. Welcome, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shaikov and Excellencies, the Deputy Prime Minister Umurzakov, Ambassador Hakimov, Mr. Shaikov. Thank you very much for inviting us, the European Union, here. And we're very pleased to be here and want to congratulate the Ministry of Investment and Foreign Trade of Uzbekistan, as well as your EUROUZ Association for organizing it. It's a pleasure also because this year I can say that our relationship between the European Union and Uzbekistan are very much on the rise, and I would even say are a success story. And I would like to highlight 4 factors for this. First of all, in April this year, the European Union granted Uzbekistan the Generalized System of Preferences Plus scheme, in other words, unilateral duty-free tariffs for Uzbek goods exported to EU. And this obviously will have tangible, very tangible benefit for traders and hopefully also attract more investment in Uzbekistan. This was made possible because Uzbekistan has successfully ratified 27 international core conventions, which are a condition to benefit from this GSP Plus scheme in the field of international, of environmental governance, human rights, labor rights, and others. Obviously, it is also important that these conventions will be properly implemented, and the European Union conducts monitoring mission, which will take place before the end of this year to this effect. But we are happy to see that already GSP Plus is utilized by Uzbek exporters to the EU. Secondly, as Deputy Prime Minister Umurzakov mentioned, we hope to conclude this year a new enhanced partnership cooperation agreement. We've been negotiating now for a couple of years. I can say that as chief negotiator, we have come a long way, but of course, as always, the most difficult question remains to be decided. We have no doubt there is a political willingness to conclude this agreement. Of course, it remains important that this is translated into the necessary flexibility. Needless to say that the signing of this PCA will also promote the convergence and the compatibility of European Union Uzbekistan norms and standards, and that will have also a positive effect in areas very diverse, like transport, like energy, like labor market reforms, and obviously will stimulate also trade and investment. Thirdly, and here again, I'm pleased to see that Deputy Prime Minister Umurzakov was mentioning it, WTO accession of Uzbekistan. We are a strong supporter of this. We're willing to help, to share our experience. We believe that, of course, WTO is not a goal for itself. It's a foundation. It's the minimum common denominator amongst the 180 plus countries in the world. But it is also essential because it provides a minimum common rules, and that particularly, of course, affect the trade. And there is no other organization, international trade in WTO, so it's very important. And it will also, we believe, facilitate the economic modernization agenda that the Deputy Prime Minister was reminding us is a priority of Uzbekistan government and leadership. And we believe that this will also attract investment. Obviously, to attract investment, you need investment climate. As was also alluded by the Deputy Prime Minister, it's very important that progress are made, that investors can rely on the rule of law, whether they are big or small, particularly if they are small. And of course, that corruption is fought. Corruption is not only a problem for economic growth, it is also a problem for social and political functioning of the society. And you could even say that it's a matter of national security. If you look at what happened in Afghanistan, I think unfortunately this can be also reflected. Fourthly, we would also like to strongly welcome and congratulate the commitment of Uzbekistan of promoting the cooperation in Central Asia with its neighbors and also the connectivity. Central Asia presents the paradox of being a very badly connected region amongst its various members. We welcome very much the highly successful conference, which was held in Tashkent in July 2 months ago on Central Asia and South Asia connectivity, where High Representative Borrell went and pointed out the importance of also diversification of value chains and also to connect the country to the global economy. Sustainable connectivity is obviously also a driver for economic growth. We are very much committed to support and promote interoperability in terms of transport, like energy networks, like digital networks, but also greater exchange in education, research, innovation, culture, tourism. All these sectors, all these fields are what we do in the European Union since now several decades. So we're very happy to share also our experience to support Uzbekistan in this regard. We want to always underline that connectivity has to be done from the country where it happens, and not just to see Central Asia as a route of transit, but it has to be done for the benefit of the Central Asian countries and their population. It has to create also a level playing field for business, so that our companies who have a lot of technology and a lot of experience to share can participate. And obviously it has to be also sustainable from environment point of view. And this is very much the way we see things. We know that, like Europe, Central Asia is also very severely hit by climate change. And we're very happy to work with Uzbekistan also to a Green Deal. This year will be an election year in Uzbekistan, I was reminded. We welcome very much President Nazarbayev's strong commitment to democracy, which he has, I quote, said, "We will not deviate from the path of democratic reforms," and quote, obviously elections is an important milestone, but not the only one, of course. But we very much also want to support, to echo the Deputy Prime Minister's words on the irreversibility of reforms and to say we support the reforms. I want to end, of course, this remark by congratulating again Uzbekistan for last week's 30th anniversary of independence and all the fantastic achievements that it has reached in these 30 years, and which are now growing much more exponentially, I would say. The European Union is and is willing to remain a long-term friend and partner of Uzbekistan, and that includes, of course, through our businesses, through our entrepreneurs, who I'm sure will be willing to take part in the development of this country. Thank you.
Very much, Your Excellency. I would probably not make a break 5 minutes, and I will welcome our next speaker, Johan van der of European Businesses, President of Russia and CIS for Schneider Electric. Welcome.
Thank you, Olek. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, it's good to be here. I would like to start telling a story about Afghanistan. I might say why, although it's in the front line of the news. But I would like not to talk about Afghanistan of 2021, but of 1842, because that was the year when the British faced a decisive battle. And from there, go to Uzbekistan, to Bokhara, to the wonderful citadel of Bokhara. Because in the same year, 1842, two British officers, Colonel Charles Stoddart and Colonel Arthur Connolly, they were beheaded in the citadel on the orders of the Emir of Bokhara. So what had happened, seeking to preempt a Russian move into Afghanistan at the days of the then so-called Great Game, Britain had invaded Afghanistan 3 years earlier, and Colonel Stoddart was dispatched northward to Bokhara in order to enlist the alliance of the Emir, or at least the neutrality of the Emir. But our British friend immediately ran into problems, not just because of the fact that he did not really take care of all the sensitivities, like he refused to dismount his horse when he met the Emir. And he was thrown in a bug pit, a bit like the creepy bug pits of the Indiana Jones movies, a terrible thing. So on learning this, the British, they sent to Bokhara a second officer, Arthur Connolly, to rescue Colonel Stoddart. And again, it was not going great. He was again thrown in the same bug pit together with his friend. And it didn't get any better than that, because, as I mentioned, 1842, the British force was massacred in Kabul. 16,000 strong army perished. So as far as the Emir of Bokhara was concerned, the British reputation was in shatters, and the friends Connolly, Stoddart, after having spent 3 years in the pit, they were finally beheaded. I think that's an amazing story. But I think it's also a story which is actually, if you look at what's happening today, relevant. Why? Because it is not about hard power, it is about soft power, it's about trade, it's about links that we need to set. Because there is the other story that we know. And the other story is how Central Asia, the same period, and definitely in the centuries before, was in the middle of the Silk Road, created also flourishing cities like Samarkand, Bokhara, Khiva, many other places. The trade routes that carried goods and ideas between the East and the West. Trade around the Silk Road, which played a significant role in the development of civilizations in China, Central Asia, Indian subcontinent, and Europe as well, opening long-distance political and economical relations between those civilizations. And it was maybe starting with Silk, but it was much broader than that. Ideas were exchanged, including scientific discoveries, technologies, you name it. So I think indeed trade, Silk Road, that is the best example to show that it is cultural links that is bringing prosperity to a population. It's not about the hard power. And oh yes, indeed, in 2021, this year, Afghanistan is in deep troubles. We all know that, but the neighbor Uzbekistan is flourishing. It's amazing how in a short period of time, under the strong leadership of President Shavkat Mirziyoyev and his government, the country has opened up and is attracting today huge investments, which is a thing that obviously is noticed by the Association of European Business, the largest business association in Russia, Central Asia. We are comprised out of 500 member companies, from large corporations like Siemens, Volkswagen, Total, my own company, Schneider Electric, but also many medium-sized companies who are dynamic and innovative. It's already well planted in Central Asia, has grown, and Central Asia is exporting to the EU commodities, indeed, oil, gas, metals, cotton fiber, but many more than that, while EU exports are dominated by machinery, transport equipment, manufactured goods. Uzbekistan is open for business, we know that, and it's probably having the high from tourism to agriculture to metals, mining, textiles, industries, you just name it. I'm very happy to hear as well, of course, that the EU is stepping up its engagement in Central Asia. Critical things were mentioned like connectivity, which is so indeed important. Looking forward as well to a successful conclusion of the enhanced partnership and cooperation agreement between the EU and Uzbekistan. So yes, a number of our companies are active. Pick the examples of Siemens, one of the key markets of that company. In 2017, Siemens announced its launch of a large-scale cooperation program initiative for Uzbekistan, focused on technology, development of fuel and energy complex, smart cities, and healthcare. A spin-off of Siemens Energy, which is represented here today, has signed a MOU with Uzbekistan's Ministry of Energy to expand a strategic partnership and pursue the implementation of joint energy projects, including a thermal power plant. You have Knof, which is very active. You have the automotive sector, well known with the MAN Truck and Bus AG, who established a joint venture in Samarkand, Korean company Daewoo, also a member Daewoo of the AEB, General Motors. They are all active there. Our own company, Schneider Electric, is stepping up. We are investing in technology transfer and development of local production in Uzbekistan with several local partners who are today already producing annually up to 300 medium voltage, low voltage cubicles and almost 2,000 relay production terminals, all made in Uzbekistan and based on the most latest up-to-date technology. And we're further stepping up as well cooperation with the different design institutes and educational organizations. But a lot of our member companies of the AEB know that there are opportunities, but for them it's still a rather unknown territory. And that is also the reason why I'm also here, because there is this other business association, EUROUZ, the European Uzbekistan Business Association, which is having a fantastic know-how and wealth of expertise in that part of the world. So we want to indeed sign today an alliance between the AEB and EUROUZ, whereby our own member companies who are interested to enter into the Uzbek market will of course get the support from the AEB, but we'll get it together with EUROUZ, who will indeed is going to provide further services, know-how, expertise, in order to make sure that those companies can develop their activities in a proper way. So because of all of that, Oybek, I think when I'm in Tashkent, I will not be put into a cockpit for a couple of years. On the contrary, I'm really looking forward to an enhanced collaboration between the AEB and EUROUZ because of all the good reasons and all the opportunities that we see in Uzbekistan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Johan, for your notes and especially for coming all the way to Brussels from Moscow for this event. It is very, very important to see you and to develop this collaboration. Next, I'd like to welcome His Excellency Atabek Nazirov. He is advisor to the Minister of Investment and Trade and the director of the newly created Direct Investment Fund of Uzbekistan, which His Excellency S.Umurzakov has also mentioned. Atabek, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. I really appreciate to be invited to your event. It is unfortunate that we cannot meet face to face with some of you, but I think we're getting used to dealing in a new world. So thanks to the technologies, we can connect. Dr. Klaus, Professor Dr. Klaus Magold, I want to extend my appreciation and gratitude for leading this effort and bringing together such an impressive group of interested people who care about Uzbekistan, who are interested about Uzbekistan, and are willing to continue growing our cooperation. And a special thanks to Mr. Alisher Shaykhov as well, to you for being part of this and running with these initiatives and providing your input. We really appreciate it. Uzbekistan Direct Investment Fund, new fund manager organized in Uzbekistan. We have a shareholder who is the Fund of Reconstruction and Development of Uzbekistan. Committed capital amount of 1 billion. And the goal of our fund, newly created fund, is to facilitate and complement investments made by domestic and international investor community and strengthen the capital base of our client companies. To give you a short statistic, some of the criteria that our fund uses in observing and making our investments, we can provide up to 30% of the project size funding. We can provide up to 30% of the equity to projects, new projects, and existing companies. In terms of the instruments that we offer to the business community is complementary to the banking sector. So we provide direct equity, we can provide mezzanine capital, we can invest in bonds of issuing companies. And in addition to direct investments, we're also working on putting together specialized investment vehicles, and I will go into detail later on their composition. The way we will be running the fund is through the management agreement between the fund management company, which is EUROUZ AEB, and our shareholder, the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Uzbekistan. And in my view, this is the first time where this structure that replicates a private equity structure is being deployed in the jurisdiction in Uzbekistan. We hope through our investment strategy to ensure that we're able to provide necessary long-term capital to a broad range of businesses in Uzbekistan. That includes SMEs, that includes medium-sized companies, and we're also not excluding working with state-owned companies and state-owned enterprises. With regards to our return and expected profitability, because we're a development fund, because we're driven mostly with the priority of creating jobs, regional development in Uzbekistan, we do not have a certain fixed agreed return designed for our projects, which gives us more leverage, which gives us more freedom to select and identify deal opportunities. What are some of the criteria for our engagements? Number one, we want to support experienced sponsors, meaning experienced businesses. So we're willing to go into project finance, to greenfield investments, but provided there is a strong sponsor with experience, right technologies, right management team, that's the caveat for our success. We want to be involved with experienced management team. We will be expecting, obviously, contribution of equity, of cash investments by our partners. So therefore, we have the structure of matching up to 30%. With regards to sectors, again, at this junction, we are not limiting ourselves to any particular sector. We have a limitation of 20% of our total fund size, which will equivalent probably to 200 million as exposure to a single sector. But the idea for us to be complementary and provide missing equity capital to the developing and sectors that are attractive for Uzbek economy. That includes mining, could be in telecom sectors. Agribusiness is another big sector which we are reviewing and considering. Textiles, food processing, also power and energy is a sector of priority for our consideration. Speaking of financial products, at this moment, we are working with our international financial partners to design specific financial products that will be new in the market. One of them, what we're contemplating, is the product designed to provide capital to national champions. This is would be an equivalent of a benchmark fund that we would create for Uzbekistan, and with a potential aim to list that fund in the future. So this will be structured as a private equity vehicle. We would call it as our first sub-fund, and we can provide capital to leading national champions. If there are FDIs and foreign international companies who are contemplating investment opportunities, our sub-fund will be able to consider those investments up to the $100 million per ticket size, up to 100 million per transaction. Another particular financial instrument that we're contemplating, and you all know recently we had an annual meeting of the Islamic Development Bank, is to provide an investment vehicle that will follow Islamic finance principles. It's in a big demand in Uzbekistan, as in many countries, and we hope to act as a pioneer in creating this particular instrument. In addition to that, we have work in progress to provide a special vehicle for SMEs, for small and medium-sized enterprises with an ESG impact. When we talk about ESG impact, primarily consideration is creating jobs in the areas where critical for development, and the regions critical for development of Uzbek economy. Primarily, in addition to creating jobs, for us, the role of women in business is also important. So we would like to have a separate project, a separate fund set aside to support women in business and girls in helping them to get the right skills and to get the right financing so they can grow and be part of the economic activity in Uzbekistan. Youth development, as you know, unemployment is a big, one of the biggest concerns probably in economies like Uzbekistan. So for us to provide the skills and provide financial tools, financial instruments that would help the youth and the younger generation to become part of the economic activity and the Uzbek economy is also important. So we'll pay special attention to that. And with that regard, our aim is to work with international financial institutions active in Uzbekistan and reach out to their expertise, the technical assistance and funding that would help us to be, more impactful in Central Asia and in Uzbekistan. With respect to our governance, maybe something I should mention to you as well. Board of directors is comprised of 5 members. The board of directors of fund is the ultimate executive authority of decision-making. His Excellency Mr. S.Umurzakov, His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister, is the chairman of our board. Mr. Shukrat Mafayev, who is the Deputy Minister of Investments, is a member of our board. together with Mr. Kudratov and Mr. Vaitov, who are also members, Deputy Ministers of Investments. So with regards to the management of the fund, we are a little bit kind of ring-fenced from the rest of the government, and our mandate and our investment declaration and our charter decides and oversees our investment activities. At this stage, we're reviewing about 30 projects that are in our pipeline. And obviously, we want to look more. We want to be looking at deals with international financial investor community. And as I mentioned, the sectors of priority, such as the agri sector, construction materials, mining, power and energy, is of particular interest to us. And we are here to act as a key anchor supporter to risk our own capital with international investors so that we can bring proper projects, so we can bring technologies and grow our economy in Uzbekistan. Mr. Alisher, on this note, allow me to take a pause, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. They'll come from your audience and from the chat. So thank you very much for having me again, and good luck with the forum.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nazirov. It's always good to see you, and we are indeed looking forward to asking you some questions during the next session. So, next speaker, we are welcoming two speakers, in fact, from a company which is showing us again that it's a global, truly global company. So we have here His Excellency Benedikt Hirsch from Siemens, joining us with his colleague, I think joining us online as well, Reinhard Kunstmann. But please, sir, you have the floor. Welcome to the Embassy of Uzbekistan.
Thank you. So, dear Deputy Prime Minister S.Umurzakov, dear Ambassador, dear ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here with you today, to speak to you in this forum. My name is Benedikt Hirsch. I'm with Siemens Energy here in Brussels, and my colleague is joining online as well. For us at Siemens Energy, Uzbekistan is really a country of strategic importance in the Central Eastern region. And the Deputy Prime Minister has mentioned the reform agenda, the openness, and this is obviously something that is very important for us and a good basis for business cooperation. But beyond that, we would also like to congratulate the Deputy Prime Minister and also the government for the bold steps that they are taking on the energy agenda, on the modernization of the energy sector towards an energy system that is more sustainable and that is more modern. I've heard the impressive growth rates that are expected in Uzbekistan, and I think it is very important that the modernization of the energy system goes with that, because the energy is the basis for any economic growth. We would also like to congratulate for the active outreach to the international community, to the international business community. And I think this is a very important, very strong signals to the businesses and to the investors across the globe. And we are very happy that we are part of this dialogue, part of this outreach, and that we have this meeting here today as well to continue this. Now, very recently, our CEO, Dr. Christian Bruch, and the head of the generation business, Mr. Amin, they have visited Uzbekistan to discuss with His Excellency, the Prime Minister Arifov, and the Minister of Energy, Sultanov, and other representatives of the government on the challenges and opportunities of modernizing the energy system in Uzbekistan. And this resulted, as it was mentioned already, in a memorandum, and also to expand our strategic partnership. And we at Siemens Energy, we are really grateful and proud that the government of Uzbekistan in this context does not consider us only a strategic partner, but as a long-term partner for this transition of the energy system all along the way. And this is also really the role that we see for ourselves in Uzbekistan to go with the government all the way. So we are looking forward to continuous long-term collaboration to support Uzbekistan with the energy transition, with all our know-how, with the competencies that we have, and obviously also with our technologies. Now, following up on this memorandum of understanding, working groups have already been set up and they have started their work. And we are looking in the various sectors of the energy transition and energy generation, transmission, and also at the optimization of the installed assets that are already there. At the moment, we are working on several conventional power plants in Uzbekistan that will be built in the near future. We are talking here about a volume of 4 gigawatts, and we plan to build in Uzbekistan, in Central Asia, the most modern and most efficient combined cycle power plants, and also to optimize and modernize the existing fleet that is already in place. But also with regard to renewable energy, we want to share our experience that we have from Germany, from the German energy transition, in particular on the impact that the growing share of fluctuating renewable energy has on the stability of the grid and has on the stability of the energy system. And obviously also here we want to support with our broad decarbonization portfolio, our technologies in green power generation and our technologies also on the grid management. We are also looking forward to join the framework agreement on the development of hydrogen and renewable energy. Here as well, we have a lot of experience already from Europe. This hydrogen has become a key priority also in the EU, and so we are working on this year, and are looking forward to share this experience also in Uzbekistan. Last but not least, and I think this is really an important part of the strategic partnership, and it's an issue that is very important for us, is the focus to contribute to local education and the development of local specialists. So we are currently preparing the introduction of a dual vocational education training together with partners in Uzbekistan, and hopefully also with the support of the GIZ, that's the German Agency for International Cooperation. Furthermore, we are also joining forces with the Tashkent State Technical University and hope to build together the concept for a Siemens Energy Center. In that Siemens Energy Center, we want to give access to the students to the latest state-of-the-art software and also hands-on experience in the area of power generation. And last but not least, also we want to train the key operations and maintenance personnel for the power plants that will be built, and we will provide them training directly on the job at the power plants, but also make them benefit from the state-of-the-art. So to sum up, we are really honored that we are a part of this journey, that we are considered a reliable partner, and so we very much look forward that we can continue this cooperation along this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Benedict. Siemens has been one of the key European companies working in Uzbekistan for many, many years, and it's good to see that, again, you're leading in many ways, leading the way towards this developing this cooperation further. So next speaker, we have Andrzej Malinovsky. He's the CEO of Beeline in Uzbekistan. Of course, this is a VEON company. VEON has been one of the very important and long-term investors in Uzbekistan market, and we'd like to welcome Andrzej to give his remarks. Please, the floor is yours.
Excellency, Deputy Prime Minister of Uzbekistan, dear Chairman of EUROUZ Board, European investors and business representatives, the participants of roundtable meeting. Many thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak to you today. It's a great honor and also the unique chance to present a little bit of a viewpoint of the Western European company operating in Uzbekistan. I am truly honored to serve as a CEO of operating company of VEON Group in Uzbekistan for 150 days now since my appointment, though the presence of the company on the local market dates back to 2006. I would like to highlight a couple of points showing our impact on the growth and development of the telecommunications sector in the country, and also brought your attention to all of the efforts that has been done most recently by the government and the president of the country in order to support our industry within the framework of Digital Uzbekistan 2030 agenda. I would continue with my next slide, showing you a little bit of a history of presence of our company in the country and its current status. To give you the overall idea, VEON is international telecommunications holding headquartered in Amsterdam, which sort of fits into the agenda of our meeting of today. We are EU-based investment company present in the country with significant investments throughout last couple of years. On the picture that you see on one of my slides, on the opening one, is our building located in the very heart of beautiful city of Tashkent, which I am privileged to call my home away from home. As Polish/EU citizen, I am privileged to serve as CEO of this company, and I will continue guiding you through some of our major achievements. Briefly about our presence in the country and a couple of important metrics showing the way we perform versus overall picture of the country economy that most of you are extremely well familiar with. So if you allow me, I will concentrate on the left-hand side of the slide showing our progress in the country. As you see, key performance measures indicators covering customer base, average revenue per user in local currency, minutes of usage, and data usage. Those are four components that we judge our business in the country by. Those, as you can see, show stable performance within the last period. Showing the growth in financial aspects, which is average revenue per user, showing the improvement in our services in terms of minutes of usage, and what is a key indicator and our ambition to continue growth, this specific indicator is the data usage, because this in fact says how digital the society has become most recently. In order to give you a little bit of a underlinement of our presence in the country, we launched our brand Beeline in 2006 by acquiring the company that used to exist on the local market prior to VEON Group entering Uzbekistan. What I would like to draw your attention to is that we've been ever since presence in the country. We've been spearheading the change in the technology and make those technologies available for Uzbekistanis, for our customers and overall population. What I mean is in 2008, we were the first one commercially launching 3G, which was back in the day the leading technology in mobile connectivity, which in turn we will be soon looking into sunsetting. For the simple reason that already in 2014, we were the ones actually launching the 4G, called also LTE technology, which is the currently our key focus point across the footprint of VEON Group in all of the countries that our company is present, which was most recently highlighted by our group CEO, Mr. Kanter Zoglu, during the discussion with investment community after our half-a-year results were published last week. As you can see, we grow across all of the indicators. Some of those I would like to give your attention to is the penetration of our All Circle application, which basically shows how digital our customer base has been turning into, and launching additional services such as Beeline TV. As a market economy, as it was already mentioned by those of you who were presenting before, as a market economy, obviously we face fair competition in our country, and the fracture of this obviously goes to the level of price wars, and in many extent also to certain aspects related to taxation. Those are obviously important aspects to be taken into account when you plan to enter the country, when you plan to run any operations in our country. But rest assured, the current government, under the strict supervision of the leader of the country, they have been doing tremendous efforts in order to make competitive environment in the country favorable and fair. To give you the idea about the scale of operations of our group and the role Uzbekistan plays within VEON footprint, you can see on a picture the places of presence of our group. Is that we have a very specific approach to the countries that we see as drivers of our revenue growth. Presented results for Q1 2021 show a relatively small share that Uzbekistan plays in group globally, but please be sure that this indicator will change within this year, and we have extremely ambitious plans for the upcoming years. We are now in a stage of business planning within the horizon of 2025, which basically goes very much in line with the plans of the government and specific governmental institutions supporting our presence on the market. We are also one of the most sizable technology employers in the country, which makes me really proud to continue developing also our company in that area. Currently, our headcount amounts to almost 1,800 employees across the country, covering all of the basic functions of the standard technology / fintech / telco company, because we play respectively on all of those fields. We do believe that the common myth of not that high availability of talented and hardworking people in Uzbekistan is actually a myth. Of 1,800 people we do work with in our team, we have a small fraction of expatriates such as myself, and we are just on the edge of establishing the mentoring program in order to plan the succession, which is meant to bring top local talents to take over the top management positions and replace the expatriates team that I have a privilege to lead. We are citizens, corporate citizens of our beautiful country. And in that regard, we are very much supporting the development of corporate social relationships initiatives. Some of the examples you can see on the slide. The one that I am particularly proud with, because this is actually when my tenure in the country started, is the second one from the left, showing modernized IT school in Jizak region. And the one on the left-hand side is the one that we plan to complete within the upcoming days and weeks. It's exactly the same story with one of the school in Samarkand, when we provide the hardware, software, and the equipment for IT classes and the other schools. And we intend to continue this program and roll this on to cover all of the regions in the country, the regions of our presence, the regions where our services are being made more and more available. What is the very heart of our presence in any market, and specifically in Uzbekistan, is digital transformation. Our objective across the footprint of VEON Group is to build leadership in connectivity. Specifically to Uzbekistan, we aim very high, and our ambition within the horizon of 2025 is to build #1 fixed mobile convergent operator in the country, which means that we intend to provide both fixed and mobile services for our customers across the country, to make all of the assets available online available to each and every of our customer, no matter where within the country this individual is located. Second thing, which has tremendous potential in our country, it's digital financial services. We live in a country which still is in very much of a need of bringing banking services across this massive and huge potential country. And we do work hard using 100% of local talents in order to make it available for our customers and to make it available for general public in the country. What we've been trying to do ever since is our own payment systems. What we will continue trying to build is full-scale digital bank, depending on how successful we are going to be with the existing solutions. This is something that we will be strategically looking into, and we are very happy to be aware that the government looks into digitalization as a part of overall agenda of development of the country, and we are honored to play our part in this. Same with development of digital content, e-commerce, and various initiatives related to overall digitalization of the country. This is that much of an important for us that with the upcoming visit of our group CEO and group executive chairman, respectively, Mr. Kaan Terzoglu and Mr. Gennady Gazin, who will be visiting Uzbekistan in the upcoming weeks, we would love to have the chance to discuss this agenda of ours with you, Your Excellency, Prime Minister, Mr. S.Umurzakov, in person, if that would fit into your calendar. Respective communication is being already prepared by my office. That would be absolute honor to have the chance to discuss this with you and understand the way you see how VEON and Beeline brand in particular can participate and bring the value to the population of Uzbekistan in that specific amount. In order to wrap up and give the participants of the roundtable a little bit of a view from the ground in a way, a couple of important messages to conclude my brief presentation. Uzbekistan is the country to be present into. This goes without saying. All of the speakers speaking before mentioned this numerous times, and I hear from very heart of Tashkent, I'm here to support this idea. What is already on the agenda of the government, what is already being executed is equal regulations for all of the market players. That is something that we do very much support in highly competitive industry. Overview of the existing tax policy. His Excellency mentioned this during the meeting of the leader of the country with the business community. This aspect was already mentioned, and we do look forward in order to this issue being addressed, which already is an ongoing process. For us, sort of industry-specific idea that I would like to sort of raise using this unique opportunity is to access an international internet gateway, making internet more available for Uzbekistani population, making it cheaper based on fair competition between the operators, bringing the internet from outside the country is one of the cornerstone of developing of the digital Uzbekistan and all of the related services, what we call connected, the unconnected. And lastly, but obviously not the least important, We are here as a foreign investor, as a recognized international company, being on the ground for 16 years now. We are here to support the government of Uzbekistan, to support the leadership of the country in order to reach the goal, which is participation in WTO and other international business communities. We will be more than happy to bring our experience from abroad, from countries which were in similar situation back in the day, and share these experiences in order to help our government, help the leadership of the country in order to reach the goal and make it to WTO, which is the strategic objective, as it was mentioned by Prime Minister during his opening address. Many thanks for the chance to participating. Many thanks to Secretary General. Many thanks to Your Excellency Prime Minister in order to give me the opportunity to present to you today. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Malinovsky. Next, I will present two speakers, in fact, Mr. Cristiano Nardi and Mario Bruni, who will speak one after another. I will shortly say about Pietro Fiorentini. We have this company as one of the really big industrial companies in Italy, a success story. Because 5 years ago, I was in Venice and I saw a gas metering device, and one of the executives of Pietro Fiorentini at that time said, one day we'll have these metering devices in Uzbekistan. So now my grandmother, who lives just outside of Tashkent, has 2 weeks ago a gas metering device installed with the technology by Pietro Fiorentini, and I welcome Executive Chairman of the company here to give us some experience and remarks. Welcome, Mr. Nardi. Welcome, Mr. Bruni. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for inviting us to witness the experience we are having in Uzbekistan, which is quite unique. Our company is a mid-sized company established in 1940. So back to our history, we have been active in more than 100 countries, exporting and dealing through different factories, serving basically the major gas and water utilities all around the world, as well as the oil and gas majors in the upstream sectors. So we have a quite huge experience on the international market. And what we are experiencing in Uzbekistan is quite unique. It's quite unique for the type of cooperation, which is for us a very important transfer of technology, dealing with a local partner, which is doing, let's say, some important add value in order to ease, let's say, the localizations of a product, which is a base for modernizing the gas infrastructure. Gas is a very important asset. It's a very important resource for Uzbekistan. And the government is willing to leverage gas and ease the consumptions of gas to the different consumers. So they decided to modernize their network in the framework of general modernizations and digitalizations of the country, as we have seen in the telecom, which is core, let's say, to enable certain transformations. Gas is having a very important step. Smart metering is nowadays becoming popular in Europe, but it's not common in every single country. So few countries are moving forward. Among the others, certainly Italy is a leader in implementing the smart metering, as it happens in China, as it happens in US and a few countries in Europe, France among the others, but is not everywhere. And Uzbekistan decided to have the implementations of the complete users. Numbers of users is around 4 million meters between domestic, industrial, and commercial. And the target is in 2 years to have completed this project, which is a great challenge for any standards in the world. How we are achieving this result is a combination of dynamism from a local partner. Our partner is Technopark, with very important industrial park, with very nice competencies, a great dynamism, capability, and certainly the determination to complete the project in time. And we are transferring most of the best know-how available these days to ease the success of this project. We have built up together with them a new factory, brand new factory, in few months. And nowadays we are on track for this project. We have supplied as well the software to manage all these data, which is nowadays managed by obviously the local companies, and is up and running, very much successful. What is unique for us is this type of cooperations. Which is unique is the speed and the reliability of our partners, which is certainly a value, because once you are into this kind of challenge, every single step is important to create the type of feeling, the type of trustability between the parties that is the speed and the success of the project. Authorities gave us all the support, having in mind that unfortunately the project started in the middle of the COVID. And so even the training of the people, our residents in Uzbekistan had certain delays because of COVID, but has been smoothly managed by the parties. The authorities has been very much supportive. And I want to thank as well the Italian authorities for easing all the procedures. This is to say that the country is on the way to do a very success story, which can be a success story for and I repeat once more, for any standard in the world. The transfer of know-how is a new way of cooperate. Because nowadays we know more and more that local for local is important. And to achieve certain results, I think we have to think differently from the past. The cooperation is just like the open innovations in R&D. I think we need to think strategically in this type of cooperation. And I have to tell you that Uzbek are very open to consider this type of opportunities. I hope we will be able to leverage what we have created in terms of relationship to enhance further the cooperations. There is areas of developments in the energy transitions, as the gentleman from Siemens explained. There's a need to upgrade the infrastructure. There's a need to further develop the smart metering in water. Electricity has been done already. Once completed gas, I think the government is willing to move and develop water as well. And I like to hand over the conversation to Mr. Bruni, which is very supportive with the financing with SACE that could be ideal to demonstrate the full cooperation between two countries, between Europe and Uzbekistan, between Italy and Uzbekistan, and duplicate this success story in other areas of business. I want to thank once more His Excellency, the Deputy Prime Minister S.Umurzakov and the government, and congratulate for their success and the way they are managing the development of this country. And I want to thank really everybody for organizing this meeting and giving us the possibility to witness a unique success story we are experiencing. Thank you very much, everybody. And Mr. Bruni, please.
Thank you, Mr. Nardi. Good afternoon to everyone. It is a great pleasure to be here today with all of you. Special thanks to Mr. Prime Minister and Vice Prime Minister S.Umurzakov for inviting us to this meeting. As Mr. was anticipating, I represent SACE. SACE is the Italian Export Credit Agency, and as such, we have the role of promoting export and internationalization of Italian companies around the world. We have found in Uzbekistan a country full of opportunities, not only in several sectors, but also because they have the willingness to dialogue with other countries, with other entities, and putting pieces together in a successful way so that we can set up the right financing to take all these major projects forward. We are active in the country. I can say that in the past 3.5 years, we have done plenty of transactions, small transactions. The transaction to which Mr. Nardi was making reference, the smart gas meters, is a big transaction in which we have seen the Ministry of Finance involved as a guarantor within the financing. And I have to say that the level of professionality that we have found in the country is quite high, which eases up and opens up the path to a mutual collaboration, which we are very sure will have a big success and will only increase in the coming years. I would like to close saying that we are very eager to continue working with the country. We have further capacity to continue financing. Our services are not limited only to financing, however. I would like to mention that we're also capable of giving a hand to Uzbek investors and buyers in finding the right solutions within Italy. We have a database of the Italian export community, which we have classified by sectors. So when we face a project, we are in the capacity of setting up a team of different exporters to find the right solution to the requirements of the potential buyers in Uzbekistan. Again, we have capacity. We're happy to be collaborating with Uzbekistan. I reiterate what Mr. Nardi was saying. Collaboration is at very high levels. And we would like to take advantage of these high level of collaborations to do many projects together in the future. Having said this, I would like to thank once again for the invitation and wish you a successful closing of the webinar, and giving my availability to speak to any of you to explore spaces of further collaboration altogether. The Italian system is at your availability. Thank you very much again for the invitation.
Mr. Nardi, Mr. Bruni, thank you very much for your remarks. Now we will go to the question and answer section. I see that another Deputy Minister of Investments and Foreign Trade has joined us, Mr. Kudratov. So if you can, I will ask my colleagues to please spotlight Mr. Kudratov as well. And so the floor is now open to questions. We are very much on time, and therefore I hope you can ask the questions in the system now, and we will read them and pose to our guests here. So we have about 130 people who are online in Zoom, and about I see 25 which are on other platforms. The other platforms are not going to be able to ask the questions, but I don't know if my team sees any questions. No. Close.
I have one question to Mr. Umurzakov. Could you explain a little bit how you see the next steps as far as WTO process is concerned? Because I believe this is something which is especially important for having a very good basis for long-term development of international trade organizations.
I believe Mr. Kudratov could take this question, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, dear Mr. Mangold. It's a great pleasure for me to have this opportunity. Thank you very much for your question. As you may know, last year we have conducted the fourth working group meeting on the accession of Uzbekistan to WTO. That was an important event after almost 15-year break in the process of Uzbekistan's accession to the organization. So we've been actively discussing with WTO, its member countries, our foreign trade regime, and we have received more than 700 questions from member states about Uzbekistan, about our trade policies and other matters. So we are now dealing with preparation to the next meeting, the fifth working group meeting on the accession of Uzbekistan to this organization. And we hope that this meeting will be possible this autumn, hopefully this October. So I would like to confirm and underline that WTO accession is an utmost priority for us, not only from trade point of view, but also from the investment aspect, because it also allows us to increase the investment attractiveness of the country. So that's why joining the World Trade Organization is in our radar. We have assigned a separate Deputy Minister of Investments in our organization, Mr. Abidov, who is in charge only with the accession to this organization. So we hope that with the support of European partners, other countries and members of this organization, Uzbekistan will join WTO soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. We have a question here for Mr. Nazirov, because there is very little information still available about the direct investment fund. And the question is if there is any information that you could share possibly with the participants of this event, so we can share that with everyone. Mr. Nazirov, I see you are still here, but you are on mute. Okay. While we wait for Mr. Nazirov, I will ask our perhaps embassies about the quarantine. So can EU citizens enter Uzbekistan from the EU without visas today, without doing quarantine on arrival if vaccinated, either Pfizer or AstraZeneca? So I know we have our embassy in Germany here. You can open your camera and please answer the question. That will be great. Thank you.
Dear His Excellency, S.Umurzakov, dear Dr. Mangold, dear Mr. Kudratov, dear ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to greet all today's participants. Coming back to question, as you might know, Uzbekistan has a visa-free regime with Germany. So German citizens can visit up to 30 days in Uzbekistan without visa. And currently, German citizens traveling to Uzbekistan are required to take a PCR test. So this is a basic requirement currently. And there is also, they need to remain like The there is a quarantine for 14 days exists currently from flying from Germany to Uzbekistan.
Thank you very much for responding to this question. And now I see if Mr. Atabek Nazirov is here, you can try to unmute yourself. If not, I will give a word to Mr. Luigi Berti. He has just joined our panel. He's also representing our partners in Italy. He's a Uzbek-Italian Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Berti, if you can, my colleagues will please make him a co-host, and then you can unmute yourself and open the camera as well. And yes, you are unmuted now, Mr. Berti.
Yes, good day to everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you fine.
In the speech of Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. S.Umurzakov, I had the information about the meeting of the President of Uzbekistan with the entrepreneurs, medium size, and he meet a lot of these entrepreneurs. Now, Mr. Zazirov informed on the possibility to help also medium size, low size entrepreneurs in their investment. Both with capitalization and both with financing. Considering that from our side, such could be open also to finance, I think that this is an opportunity very important. And I would like to have a confirmation that the small size entrepreneur could be really financed by the Uzbek government, because in a certain way the Italian entrepreneur structure is in favor of developing medium-sized, small-sized entrepreneur. We are not able only to supply good large plants like Mr. Narti said, like Danieli or others, but we can help really Uzbekistan in developing the medium-sized, small-sized industry. So I would like to have confirmation from Mario Bruni about the possibility to collaborate in the assuring credit for this type of industry.
Yes, this is Mario Bruni speaking. I don't see the video activated. In any case, I may answer, and the answer is quite simple. It's an open yes. We've been working in the past 3 years also with small, medium enterprises on both sides. It is very frequent that happens, that we have a small, medium enterprise in Italy. We can do this in many ways. The most common is that we have an Uzbekistan bank acting as borrower and then on lending to the small, medium enterprise on the Uzbekistan side. But in some cases, we have also done financing directly to small, medium enterprises in Uzbekistan. The technical ways are many. I don't think it's the case getting into details, but again, the answer is yes. There's appetite on our side to take further risk on the country, both on a sovereign side, on the banking sector, and on the private sector as well. And once again, I take the opportunity to say that if small, medium enterprises from the Uzbekistan side, as well as large enterprises are seeking for goods and services around the world, we also have the capability not only of financing those projects, but we also have the capability of giving you a hand in identifying the right suppliers from Italy.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
I hope to have a possibility to speak personally with Mr. Nazirov about this possibility. Thank you very much.
Yes, Mr. Iperti, maybe I'll also add a few comments to your question. Indeed, the Uzbekistan Fund for Uzbekistan Fund for Direct Investment is contemplating one particular MSME sub-fund. So we would like to provide capital together with other financial investors to what we call financing company. This financing company will be targeting average ticket size 5 million. And the way we want to finance these companies is through possible what we call leaseback or do financial leasing operations, or maybe even doing joint ventures if they're bigger entities. So by end of this year, we hope to be able to announce formally the creation of this sub-fund, but it's obviously subject to complementary participation of other investors who are willing to take the risk. But just to confirm and summarize, yes, the government of Uzbekistan and the Fund for Direct Investment is taking very seriously the support that we need to provide in financing small and medium-sized businesses.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So I see a few questions as well, but we will have to send a response to the questions. And now we have a small last part of this event is a signing ceremony. So you see on your screen, and I will ask my colleague here to highlight it here as well. We will sign a memorandum in the garden here. So there is a third camera over there. So the guests who are here, perhaps I can at this point welcome you to the garden.
Yes.
Thank you very much.